Hello and welcome to the 21-22 school year. I am R.D. Huntley, and this is Captain's Corner. Coming to you directly from my studio at the West Ada District Office, where I have assumed the role of Transportation Liaison. Simply means I'm the guy that when things go bad, everybody gets to dump on. But in reality, I took this because I believe I can be a better supporter of the public and certainly help out on the transportation side as we move forward to this new school year. As we start looking back at 2020, we realize that hindsight is 2020. Now, did you know that expression actually kind of was coined in 1862 when the Snellen chart was developed? You know, that eye chart that you can't really read? In fact, it's the one that I'll bet you some of you have tried to memorize the line so that when you have to close an eye, you could still read it. Yeah, that chart. Anyway, that meaning has certainly changed for those of us that have lived through 2020, because hindsight truly is 2020. So we can just all agree that the year 2020, in hindsight, is a year we all want to forget. And honestly, it was just a stinker. Because we know the year started off in January with the presidential impeachment trials. Then we got word of a famed basketball player, Kobe Bryant, dying in a helicopter accident. Then into February, the 49ers blew a 10-point lead over the Kansas City Chiefs to lose the Super Bowl. I know that makes Paul very happy. We also found that California schools began to shut down. There began to be a panic in buying of all things, toilet paper. Then in April, restaurants became restricted to takeout only. Virtual events became a thing. Debates began on masks, and then it just became unthinkable. Now, on a positive note, most of you substantially benefited from the time that you're off with increased unemployment and stimulus money. Also, you got to binge watch television, patrol the refrigerator, and, take a few naps. So I can understand why most people don't want to go back to work. So, hindsight. It's looking back at mistakes. Trying not to repeat what you've done before. Understanding what you saw. And trying to figure out how to fix it. So now it's time for us to forget the past and look to the future. And we're going to start that in this little discussion with a pep talk.
I think we all need a pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, aren't we all on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, be on my team. This is life, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Really bad. Rocks, thorns, and glass. My parts broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost. But what if there really were two paths? I want to be the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing unless you dream stupid. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it goes. Get a better dream and keep going. Keep going, keep going, and keep going. What if Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he did quit. No, he retired. Yeah, he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. But I do know this. It's everybody's duty to give the world a reason to dance. So get to it. You've just been pep talked. Create something that will make the world awesome. Play ball.
So we are all on the same team, and it is time for all of us to be awesome. So one of the things that we don't think about much as school bus drivers and monitors is that we are really an extension of the educational system. And being a part of that extension, we need to mirror what the academics do. Now, I just wanted to frame this so that everybody is aware, and it's one of the things that we're pushing at the district, is that everyone should be aware that the main focus for academics this year is mathematics. Now, I know that doesn't have a lot of practicality when it comes to bus driving, but keep in mind that if you're going to have discussions with your students, throw in a little math from time to time and let the district know that, hey, you're supporting what their goals are. So what really is the mission or the vision of a school bus driver? Well, it's to support our school district's education process by providing reliable, caring, and safe transportation to students. We strive to make our students' transportation to and from school an enhancement of their total learning experience. So I say, go math! Well, 2 plus 2 is still going to be 4. Find a way to kind of throw that into your conversations. That is the district's goal this year. So let's bring hindsight a little closer to home when it comes to driving a school bus. And here's my wish for you. May you have the hindsight to know where you've been, the foresight to know where you're going, and the insight to know when you've gone too far. So the first thing on our list is know where you've been. Now, experienced drivers, they will rely on the past and think about how they've handled situations and use that to their advantage. Now, I think back of my first experience. My first task as a school bus driver was transporting the Crossroads Shuttle. Now, if you're not aware of what the Crossroads Shuttle is, or the Pathway Shuttle for that matter, these are generally the kids that are educationally challenged. And how can I say this in a nice way, other than juvenile delinquents? They are conformity resistant. There you go, conformity resistant. Now, it was a daily battle to control the bus. From Johnny, who loved to shine a mirror in people's faces. Johnny, you can practice your prison communication later. Or Sarah, who loved to stand up and act provocative at every stoplight. Sarah, please sit down. Your career as a pole dancer does not start here. So those were the kind of kids that you had to deal with on a daily basis. And I can tell you that there was one day, just one day, when finally the Johnnies and the Sarahs had just gone too far. I just couldn't take it. So I pulled into the Meridian School parking lot and did the one thing that is most unthinkable for a bus driver, honestly, to do: a brake check. Now, I regretted that every day afterwards. Nobody got hurt, but just the idea that I was not in control enough that I had to resort to a brake check to try and get their attention. By the way, it didn't work, because the next day they were just as unruly. But one thing it did teach me is that I had to educate myself better on how to be a better school bus driver and how to manage kids. So I did some educating myself, and that's when I developed the concept of recon, which your student management team uses even today. From there, I did the obvious. I developed the foresight to know where I was going and the insight to identify what was and was not effective. That took a personal commitment from me to be the best bus driver and mentor that I could be to these kids each day. These kids were entrusted in my care. I needed to be a better bus driver myself. Now I want you to make that same kind of commitment to the kids that you're going to transport. A bus driver's role is to engage the students. Get started on the right foot. It's not so much about enforcing rules, but it's about getting them to respect you and your commitment to them. You always try to do the right things for the people that you like. Now, as a kid, you would probably ride your bike through your parents' garden, but you wouldn't do it at grandma's. So let's go back and remember the 80s. That's my 80% rule. You remember it? Here it is. 10% of your students will be good kids no matter what happens on that bus. The other 10% will be bad kids, probably no matter how you discipline them. But that 80% in the middle will flow with whatever direction your bus is going when you look at those kids and you control the 10% good ones or the 10% bad. So you can have 90% of good kids and a few bad eggs, or you can have 90% of bad kids and a few good ones that would rather not ride your bus. Start by identifying that ridership. Know who those kids are. Learn their names. Make sure that your ridership and that 10% that is good and that 10% that is bad is easily identifiable. So last year we started the process of seating charts and becoming more versed in using them and enforcing them. And that will be just as critical this year. So if you think that, well, that we did it last year, we can get away with not doing this year, it's incorrect. There's still going to be a need for us to do tracing. There's still going to be a need for you to control your bus, and seating charts is an effective way to do that. So plan on making every effort to keep the kids in the seats they are assigned, because you're going to need to do that throughout the entire year. But it starts with getting to know who they are. So make sure, and I don't know how to emphasize this anymore, learn their names. Ask their names. Use their names. Get to know the kids on your bus. So perception, image, and reality. You know, there's ways we look at student management and we know what we want. We know where we need to go. We think we know how to get there. Even at that, sometimes things go wrong.
Try to make friends.
Want a Dorito?
Hey everyone! The new kid's handing out Doritos!
Doritos?
Quit screaming, I got this!
So embrace the concepts of recon. Listen to your student management team and, avoid Doritos on the bus. Yes, they're back. Unfortunately, masks are going to be required on the bus. And while last year this was more of a mandate from STA, this year it is actually a mandate from the CDC. So you are required to wear masks on the bus. As a driver, you're not required to wear them when there are no students on the bus, but you are when there are students. There is no way around this. Now, there will be some who will have mask exemptions. There will be those who just simply cannot wear masks because of special education needs. We will honor that. But there will be masks on the bus. There will be what I call a soft enforcement. We're not going to kick anybody off the bus for not wearing a mask, but we will continue to ask them to do it. We will warn them. We will advise them. We may even contact their parents, but we won't force them to be off the bus. I understand that there will be SROs at the schools that will be actually handing out masks to kids as they get on the buses to make sure that that is being enforced. We'll see how that rolls and how that works. Again, like last year, we will be supplying masks to you so you'll have them readily available for students on your bus. Something now on a more somber note that you need to be aware of and that the district wants to make sure that you understand your role. There is a growing concern in our communities and really across the nation about child abuse. And there is an emphasis this year to be more vigilant at recognizing situations where there may be abuse in a family, in a guardianship, in a foster home, or in a care setting. So, who's responsible for reporting potential child abuse cases? Well, as an employee or as a contractor for West Ada, you're really in a unique position to intervene and to protect students from child abuse. It is mandatory, and let me repeat that word, mandatory, that you report child abuse to the state of Idaho. People who must report this include administrators, teachers, coaches, paraprofessionals, school nutrition workers, bus drivers, school counselors and social workers, school psychologists, school nurses, and any other individuals over the age of 18. So let's take a look at child abuse.
Worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world, mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world, mad world. Mad
So I'm going to take a moment now and just answer a few of the more common questions. How will I know for sure that a child is being abused? Well, the language in Idaho state law says you must have a reason to believe abuse has occurred, and it must be reported. Now, reason to believe is only a suspicion of abuse, not proof that the abuse occurred. Now, the question might come up, is spanking abuse? Corporal punishment is legal in the state of Idaho. So spanking is common, a form of discipline, and it could border on abuse if you see something more severe than just what a spanking might give. What if a parent or perpetrator finds out I was the one that reported it? Well, typically you are kept in strict confidence and not likely that that's going to happen. What if a parent threatens to sue me? Again, the parent shouldn't know who you are, but if that were to be the case, you are protected by law. Your report of alleged abuse is in good faith, and no legal action can be taken. So I want to emphasize that child abuse is something that you individually must take the responsibility for reporting. You cannot tell your supervisor, you cannot tell somebody else, you cannot hope that somebody else will notice. Take the initiative and do the right thing and pass on that information to people who can take care of it. Now, there's a couple phone numbers I'm going to put up here that you'll want to know in case those situations happen. Write them down and keep them in case you need to use them. Okay, now just a few final thoughts. So while you have been watching me, and I put this presentation together, guess what? I've been watching you. Yeah, that's an interesting pair of pajamas. You apparently love cats. I'm not sure that's a breakfast drink. Nah, I'm only kidding. I'm not seeing any of you. But if I could, this is probably what I would have seen. So until next time, keep the wheels rolling, the students safe, and your sanity intact. This is your captain. Thank you for listening.